gets loud, take a breath, step back. Shift the lens you're looking through, get your power back. See the open doors where the doubt creeps in. Flip the script in your mind, it's how wins begin. Perspective, ownership, accountability. That's the energy, the fuel, the ability. Light it up, show up, bring your best today. 3 habits gonna take your sales all the way. No blame, no waiting, no passing the lead. You're the spark, you're the driver, you're the one they need. On the calendar, the follow up, the call. When you take that step, you rise, you don't fall. Perspective, ownership, accountability. That's the energy, the fuel, the ability. Light it up, show up, bring your best today. 3 habits gonna take your sales all the way. Hustle. Find someone who knows your aim, who calls you higher, speaks your name. Iron on iron, pushing strong, keeps your head right, keeps your heart on. Perspective, ownership, accountability. Turn 'em up, that's your victory. Stay focused, stay ready, stay moving with grace. 3 habits, put the energy back in your sales race.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Energy for Sales Live. And let me see if I can get my camera turned on here. Good afternoon. Happy Monday. Happy Thanksgiving week. It's a short week and I'm very blessed to have you on. I'm grateful that you joined. And before we even begin, I want to say thank you for being part of the Energy for Sales community. Thank you for following along there on YouTube with us. And I'm excited because we have some exciting updates for you guys. I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment and talk with you just for a second, fireside chat as we get going. I've got some fun things in the works. Energy for Sales webinar we've been doing for now about 3.5, 4 years. No, golly, longer than that, 4.5 years. And it's been incredible. Did this for a long time just as a monthly webinar to really bring things we were coaching on and answering in the field and bring to kind of a collective spot that had to do with title, that had to do with real estate and mortgage. I do a lot in the title space with title companies. I do a lot with mortgage companies, but I have both of those types of companies that ask me, can we invite our real estate agents into a spot, one of your webinars? And because so many of my webinars are focused in on the title and mortgage, I thought, man, how can we do this? So the Energy for Sales monthly was geared more towards the trifecta. And then, of course, we have insurance, home warranty, some healthcare folks, even some friends from my 10 years that I worked in the automotive space join. So it's been a great monthly rhythm. I thought, how do I take what we're doing to the next level? So started building some goals out, and I was speaking in Louisville, Kentucky, and came across a gentleman who, as a real estate broker, he used to do podcasting for ESPN. He was one of the largest syndicated horse racing podcasts being there in Louisville. So he was on stage. He's a real estate broker. Fantastic. Talk about referral driven, high trust, and just a person of character, like really synced at a heart level with him. And then I spoke, and he came up afterwards. He said, I would love to do a podcast with you. So I thought about it. I said, you know what, let's date before we marry and do a couple. We did a couple, and we have just absolutely found our groove. He's focused so heavily in the real estate space, and of course from the title and mortgage. I just thought together and picking his brain and he's picking my brain, we would be able to take this to the next level. So we have launched the Trust Factor podcast, and I want you guys to know about it. You'll be hearing more about it. But um, practicing what we preach, right? Sometimes you have to give up the good to go for the great. And now we'll see in a year whether that's great, but I think it's going to be. I really do. And for me, meeting with Mike and doing the podcast is fueling me. I'm learning a lot from Mike. He's 10 years ahead of me. His kids love him. He's got a business that he's proud of, and he's coaching and training at the highest levels. So I enjoy Mike and meeting with Mike. Number two, I want you to know Mike. I want my audience to know Mike, and doing that together. Simon Sinek says together is better. And so I want to be able to deliver consistently to you guys. Now, with that, a couple of changes, right? So the Energy for Sales YouTube channel is still going to be alive and well. Reason being, I have so much content that's recorded that I'm getting my team to upload to the channel. So we're going to have Energy for Sales themed content on the Energy for Sales YouTube channel. I use so much of the Energy for Sales YouTube channel in my coaching and my trainings as supplemental content. So it's library there. The other thing is I run into a lot of great sales leaders, and I want to be able to have coffee with those sales leaders, hit record, and then get that recording uploaded and out to you guys. So the Energy for Sales YouTube channel will be alive and well. It'll be a library of sorts. But where we run live trainings, we're actually going to move from Zoom. We're going to move away from Zoom. So the registration, the Zoom links, we're moving away from Zoom. And where are we going? Well, we're getting techie, guys. And it's so interesting. I talk about AI and I talk about technology, and it's evolving a lot of things. So what we're going to do is on Saturday morning, and I know some people are like, dude, I don't like Saturday mornings still. Hear me out. So my kids and I, they get to sleep in. They get up early every day of the week for school. They get to sleep in Saturday mornings. I usually get up, try to get a run in. If I don't get a run in, try and just get in a book, do something on my Saturday morning for like to fill up my tank. Well, Mike and I have been jumping on Saturday mornings. We grab our coffee and we're meeting and shooting podcasts Saturday morning and having a blast. Then the kids wake up and they mosey on downstairs, and I cut the podcast off when we're doing breakfast. My consistency with them on Saturday mornings. So what does that mean for you guys? You have kids too. You got breakfast. You got things you're doing Saturday morning. So we're gonna keep it early, not terribly early, because there's a lot of folks on the West Coast that want to join as well. We're gonna do 9 a.m. Eastern time. Now, if you're like me, my kids and I, we like to get breakfast, and instead of cartoons, we usually turn on something on Saturday morning. We'll do a Dude Perfect. Anybody a Dude Perfect fan? We'll do Mark Rober. My son loves engineering. Mark Rober's pretty good. We'll do a Daniel LaBelle, maybe some comedy, but we always try to do something. I like to do something that's going to build them or give them an idea or spark some thought or whatever. Not saying that you and your kids need to get breakfast and tune in to the Trust Factor, but once a month, Mike and I are going to go live on YouTube. So if you're following along, the Trust Factor, and I'll go back to the channel here. But on YouTube, you can follow along, and we are you'll be able to find Trust Factor on YouTube. It's Trust Factor X, Trust Factor X, and the reason it's Trust Factor X is we believe that trust is the multiplier. So I'll give you guys a quick rundown, abbreviation of the show, but in a world saturated with big tech solutions and AI-driven monologues, how does a real estate or lending professional build a lasting, profitable business? It comes down to one formula: high tech plus high touch multiplied by high trust is the winning factor. And I've coached on this a long time. High tech plus high touch multiplied by high trust, because some people have high tech, they're very techy, they're all out in front of everything when it comes to tech, early adopters and all that. But I've seen their business or their life, or you get around them and you're like, there's just, you don't know that you could trust them. You don't feel that. You don't, there's an intuition, a gut level of, I can't trust this. And some people are all in on tech because they're want to hide behind the technology and not really engage. I had one person come to one of my AI trainings recently and say, "I hope you're going to teach us how to go live on the beach and collect mailbox money." And I'm like, well, if that's what you're trying to do, I'm the wrong coach for you. And I love the game. I love the connection. I love the relationships. I love meeting with people and going so much deeper than business, going at a soul level deep into their life and being there as a partner for them. So I'm in it for the game, but the fact of the matter is we live behind portals and there's technologies that help us engage with our clients. So being able to be high tech plus high touch, and also looking at tech as it has to free me to be more high touch, right? Or it's not really helping me and serving me. And that's high touch with our clients, but also back in touch with ourselves. And so high tech plus high touch, but everything multiplied by high trust. So doing what you say you're going to do with the competency you said you can do it in, and also with the intention you said you would do it for your customer. So high touch built on high trust, high tech built on high trust. It's all multiplied. And trust is really the compound effect. Stephen Covey, or his son Franklin Covey, says in his book Speed of Trust that without trust, everything slows down. Think about it. Without trust, everything slows down, doesn't it? With the backup and verify, you have that business partner who starts doing something you just don't trust. Everything crumbles. 10 years worth of growing something and one moment of trust, everything crumbles. This happens in our lives as well, personally, right? We don't come through. We're not our word. We live in less than integrity, and we have to back up and regain trust. It slows everything down. So that's the formula. We're going to unpack each one of those, and we've already launched. We have 3 great episodes for you guys, and this is not just a blurb today on the episode. We're going to get into an actual training here in just a minute, but just wanted to speak heart to heart with you guys about what's coming. So I want you guys to follow my friend Mike Gandolfo. He's my co-host. I call him the host. I'm the co-host. He argues with me, says I'm the host. He's the co-host, but I think we're co-hosts. Anyway, we're going to be on here, and once a week we're dropping an episode, and then every month we're going to go live. And so follow along, but learn why technology should only be a tool to drive human connection, how to graduate from being an influencer to a person of influence, and why the trusted advisor gets paid 3 times on every deal. This isn't about mailbox money. It's about building a career based on authenticity, advocacy, and relationships. So follow along, guys, on YouTube. And like I said, we've got episode 1, 2, and 3 out. We've got several more in the hopper, going to be coming out every week. And then we just actually went live on Saturday talking about our big live stream coming up December 13th. So
I still remember our first video.
You guys can check this out. Mike and I talking about our
Trust Factor. We've already got some episodes out. The
Coming
4th
out.
episode's actually coming out this
December 13th.
Wednesday.
So follow
Going to
along,
be
guys.
able to
Yeah.
interact with us. We're going to answer questions. We're going to spend an hour together and hopefully help you get a lot better.
That's exactly right. Grab your coffee, and here's what's going to happen. Your questions, you get to drop those in live. Just like you see on the screen, we get questions from you guys all the time. We want to answer those. You join us live, drop your questions, and we're going to put them on the screen and answer them. And we're going to talk about how to end the year strong, how to charge into 2026 together. And you get to pilot our first live with us with coffee in hand. So, Mike, I'm excited to do this with you, man.
There you go. So you guys who are on my drip list, you'll be receiving an email, bomb email with the invite for this. And then you guys who are new to the show, I saw several new registrants this morning for the Energy for Sales Live. I was doing some trainings last week. Several more jumped on. So welcome if you're new to the webinar. Same month or still going monthly cadence. We're going to switch to a Saturday morning. And then give you your Monday afternoon back each a month, but still producing good, valuable content for you guys. As again, it's all about energy for sales, energizing our sales. And so join us live, Mike and I. And how you do that, just subscribe to the Trust Factor and then just turn on the little notification for the live. You can actually go over to the live. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Yeah, underneath live, you should see where it says December 13th, and then just turn the notification on. And right on YouTube, it's going to pop up, hey, they're live, and you can just listen right away on YouTube. And by the way, when we're done, it's going to live right there on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it. I know in the past you guys have said, hey, Tim, where's the recording from the webinar? And my team's been getting them uploaded, and so we've been a little lagged on that at some points. And so this will just again get it to you guys more immediately, give us a great chance to connect on YouTube. And by the way, drop your comments in on YouTube, drop your questions. Those are going to pop up live on the screen. Something again, sometimes the Zoom factor doesn't always get for us. So, and like I said, Mike is a great podcast host. I think he's going to help me in my developing my skill there. And I think from the sales mindset and some of the technology I'm going to bring. Yeah, but Mike and I are both big believers in high touch. All right, so enough about that. I'm excited, so follow along. And by the way, did you like that little mantra song this morning or this afternoon? So I'll drop that in the comments for you guys. But to cheer out your year to this, we basically put 3 habits: perspective, ownership, and accountability into a song, and we're going to be diving in and going over those now today for the training. So who's excited? Where are you coming in from? Welcome to the show. Hey, Lauren, welcome, welcome. Awesome. For you guys here, let me drop the Suno song in there for you guys. You can jam out to finish the year strong with that. But great to have you. Thanks for tuning in. And some of you all who have been following the show every Monday for the last couple of years, I know this will be a little bit of a shift. We used to do this. We actually started it on a Saturday morning. David Oliphant and I, my sales mentor, David, and by the way, David will still join us from time to time. But he is heavily coaching the healthcare channel, and just the consistency with him has not been able to be there, and so and rightfully so. But we used to do it on a Saturday morning. We started it during the pandemic. Our sales teams were scattered, and we started doing the Energy for Sales live on a Saturday morning. And it was really for him and I as sales leaders to check in, see what's working, and then we said, why don't we just hit live and go live and open up to our audience and the people we're coaching. So that's where the live was born. So anyway, welcome in, guys. We're going to jump in now to the training for this month, and I'm excited for this one. I've given this training in several scenarios, and today we're just going to bring this again to the trifecta, whether you're real estate agent on the call today, whether you're a mortgage banker, whether you're a title professional. We're going to talk about energizing our sales. And when it comes to energizing, sales energizing, life energizing, your leadership, whatever the case may be, I like to back up and just really unpack the word energy, energizing. Because sometimes we get the wrong impression on our brains. We get that Energizer bunny, the pink bunny with sunglasses beating the drum. And sometimes when we think energy and energizing, we think burnout. We think that feeling of overwhelm, that feeling of I've got to do more. And it couldn't be, that concept couldn't be further from the truth. When I started breaking into the word energy as I was writing my book, Got Energy, like got milk, but got energy, a mentor in my life said, dude, you're the Energizer bunny. You should bottle this up. You should write a book. And I thought, man, that'd be awesome. So I started researching the word energy. I almost gave up on the book project. And some of you guys have heard the story before, but it wasn't as sexy a definition as I thought it should be. I was thinking charisma, charismatic, get in front of the room, convince people to buy something. And when I first started my sales career, I realized that I was trying to be something I wasn't. I was trying to overcompensate, and I had a lot to prove. When I went on my journey of living a truly energized life, it had so much more to do with the internal channels that would drain who I was made to be. It had more to do with the internal side of Tim than the external side of Tim. And when I looked at the definition, it was just this. This is the definition: the capacity to achieve a result. Energy is the capacity to achieve a result, the capacity to do work. There's actually the word work in the definition, scientific definition. Energy is the capacity to get work done. And work means like actual valuable things. So the capacity to achieve a result. So that meant that I had to back up and evaluate, am I even getting results in my life? Wow. Metrics, quota. Nobody in sales wants. So it's like, wow, there's a lot more to it about actual analyzation and thinking through like, what am I doing with my life as opposed to just performing, just beating the drum. And by the way, there's somebody out there, your customers, your prospects, your business leaders. There's always somebody who wants you to who's going to be completely willing for you to beat the drum louder, harder, faster. And I see a lot of burnout happening because we don't know who we are and we don't know what our capacity is or what results are. So increasing our capacity, okay, might look like a mindset issue. Increasing our capacity might look like an action, an execution issue, or increasing our capacity for results may look like a targeting issue or a connection issue, who we're connected with. So what we did was we broke this down in the book, God Energy, into 3 habits, and these habits apply to every bit of our sales and how we show up. So here are the 3 simple habits. Again, mindset is perspective. How am I seeing the situation? How am I seeing the world? How am I seeing shifts right now? Technology. How am I looking at it? Everything changes when we change the way we look at things. So perspective is habit number 1. Habit number 2 is action, execution, where procrastination completely debilitates me. Am I stepping up and stepping out and taking ownership? I see a lot of people fall down in ownership where it comes to pointing fingers, playing the blame game, them, their, and it's victim mentality as opposed to ownership. So habit number 2 is ownership. And by the way, ownership will be burnout without the right perspective. Ownership will lead to burnout. Extreme ownership can lead to burnout without the right perspective. Okay, without first having the right mindset. Okay, but mindset and ownership can both lead to ego, pride, doing it on your own, non-collaboration without the 3rd habit. And the 3rd habit has everything to do with your connection, targeting the right people, being in alignment with your team. And it all comes down to the 3rd habit of accountability. So perspective, ownership, and accountability. Okay, that's how we increase our capacity for results. 3 simple habits. Let's dig in. Let's dig into perspective, ownership, accountability. Why do we need a roadmap? Why do we need a framework? Because I think that whenever we launch anything, we start a business, we start a real estate practice, we jump into a new sales role, our brain, we like to think about success like a straight line, right? And by the way, if you are living and breathing and doing any form of good work and finding some level of success, people often look into your picture like it looks like the straight line. And if you're honest with yourself, and if I'm honest with myself, not only will we look at our present condition and say success is what it really looks like is figuring out the difficult, living in the tension, right? Embracing conflict, not running away from it. So success really looks like, this messy ball of figuring it out. But the fact of the matter is, anytime we launch something new, as we become more mature and we become more congruent, we live a more fulfilled life when we can just pump the brakes a little bit, as opposed to just pressing the gas pedal down, just bulldozing over people. Like, I want my way, I want it now. I have an instant gratification mindset. I have a microwave mentality. I want it now. It's going to be this way. Even as leaders, we can sometimes check out of how it used to be for us, the challenges we ran into when we were in that spot, that position, and we can lean out of empathy as opposed to leaning in and saying, no, there's probably going to be some challenges here. Or like in a team meeting, say, hey guys, I've just painted a picture. Like, what questions would you have? Where do you feel like this could go south? What contingencies do we need to plan for? Or if you're in the meeting, instead of just shaking your head, just absorbing, lean in, challenge the status quo. How are we going to do that? Not being a naysayer, but being let's put a plan together. I'm all in, but let's figure this out. How is that? How are we going to navigate this? Right? and really truly bringing a positive mindset, because there will be challenges. In fact, challenges, I believe, are meant to filter out those who aren't serious. I'll say it one more time. Challenges are actually meant, they're built, they are allowed to happen to us to filter out those of us who are not serious. All right. Challenges are a good thing. They make us stronger. So success, why do we need a framework? Because there are days you're going to be down and we need to go back to, how's my perspective? How's my mindset? How is my ownership? Am I taking action? Am I being consistent? And then how's my accountability? Am I doing it for the right reason? Am I doing it with others? Am I bringing others along? Right? So we're going to build our habits, 3 habits: perspective, ownership, and accountability. As we're going along, by the way, the chat is open to you guys. So if there's a question or if there's an aha moment or if there's something, feel free to drop in the chat. I will come back to the chat towards the end. All right, let's keep going. Jeff Bezos, I love this quote. He says, what's going to change in the next 10 years is a very interesting and common question that I get all the time. I almost never get the question, what's not going to change in the next 10 years, which is actually, he says, a better question when determining what to invest your energy into. And real quick, I just want to do a quick check. I should have done this before I launched. Can you guys see the slides? Could somebody comment in the chat? Just let me know. Yes, I can see the slides. I can see the loaf of banana bread. Somebody say, can you say banana bread if you can see the slides? All right, perfect. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Sweet. Okay. So the banana bread. In fact, my twin sisters, Hannah and Ruth, are here. They just arrived yesterday, and they're going to be here all week for Thanksgiving week. And so this is going to be better timed. But when they were, I believe they were 12 and I was 9. They started saving money. So we were a blue collar family, military brats. They started saving money. They wanted to go to veterinarian school, and they loved animals. We had horses. We got put on a kind of a. We grew up overseas in Germany, but the Germans called us a toy farm. We had horses, we had rabbits, we had dogs, we had sheep, we had something of everything. And it was really the lifestyle choice, the healthy lifestyle choice and everything, with milking the sheep. And we had chickens for eggs and meat and rabbits for meat. And so anyway, they wanted to raise money to go to veterinarian school. College wasn't necessarily like built into the cards for us. It was like college funds were there. So it was like, we want to get our degree as vets. So they loved baking, and they decided they were going to put together banana bread, loaves of banana bread, and they'd wrap them up in cellophane, and they'd put the little red and green bows around them, and during the holidays, and they were big hits. So they were like, man, we could really sell these. And so I think they were doing $4 a loaf, which, listen, we had a captive audience. We had the U.S. base and all these military soldiers, and then we had housing off base for all these U.S. military soldiers, families, single guys, single gals. They would live. So I jump on my BMX bike, backpack full of these loaves of banana bread. I mean, I'd stack them and they're so tight. And my thing, they were going to give me, I believe, if I recall correctly, it was $4, and I think I was going to be making like 75 or 50 cents or something like that, 50 cents a loaf. And so I was like, I'm going to do $5. It's just easier, right? $5, $10, $15. People have $10 bills, $5 bills. I'm going to do $5, but you give me $1 for every loaf. So they're still making more than they were going to make. Right? $4 minus 50 cents. No, it's $5 minus $1. They're going to make more. I'll make more. And I was pretty confident I could sell them for $5. It was great banana bread. In fact, I loved when the banana bread got like a day old. We couldn't sell it. We'd have some leftovers because I could just that was my fuel on the BMX bike, just stuffing my face with banana bread. So it was good banana bread too. So anyway, long story short, get over the banana bread. Going down to those bases, I'll never forget. And I'd go down and I'd sell them, and we had people on like off base housing. I'd figure out where the little pockets were, and I get down there. And you know what was interesting was I started selling it, and then I backed up and I evaluated. All of those housing units look the same. You get down there day 2 and you'd forget which door you started on. You'd bang on a door, somebody would open up, and they'd be like, I just got some from you yesterday. That's right. So I thought, man, what do I got to do? I gotta make a list. I gotta make a map. So I draw this map, draw A, B, C, D. I already did unit number 1. I'm on unit number 2, right? So I made this little list, and then you knock on a door, and a wife would come to the door, army wife, and she'd be like, Mike's downrange. He's down in the field for 30 days training. He'll be back, and then
she'd be like, and maybe when he's back, we like some or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. So then you had to come back, right? So how did you log that down? Boom, got to come back, right? You just made this whole map, and you just couldn't sell enough. And but it was so cool was, man, when they came back from downrange, I'd up something. Hey, you want to take 2 loaves for $10, So they would buy 2 loaves off of me. And so you had to follow up, you had to take notes. What I learned at a very early age in sales, and this is my first sales job truly, was you had to have a follow-up plan. You had to take notes. Now, as I got older, that was all now a CRM. As I launched my first sales job, got my life insurance license at 18. Never forget going out first embarrassing life insurance consultation with my Toshiba laptop. I mean, this is 2007, big old laptop in somebody's living room taking notes. 18-year-old life insurance agent, never forget. But it was a laptop. It was a CRM. Now, what changed? The piece of paper that I was taking notes on so I could follow up effectively, figuring out who I called on so I didn't like overdo it or underdo it, right? And then fast forward years later, Toshiba laptop, fast forward to today, AI, technology, almost immediate, like dumping notes, sending follow-ups, like it's all technology's changed. The world has changed. People can access the banana bread recipe. I had it in that today. If I was selling banana bread, it'd be a whole different story. By the way, I would knock on the door and say something like, hey, my 2 older twin sisters are saving money for veterinarian school. They're 11 or they're 12, whatever it was. And I'd have a story. Now, as they got older, I was still selling banana bread. As they got older, the story changed a little bit, right? I started saving money I started having vision of what I wanted to do with my life. I want to actually run. I want to run for God. I want to be like in government, in politics. But that's a long story, another day. But anyway, long story short, the story even changed. The story around the banana bread, right? Anybody can go now, just Google a banana bread recipe. Probably get a robot to mix up the batter. But the story, what's behind it, will still sell. What hasn't changed though, guys? Here's the question: what has not changed since 2000? When did I start selling? 1990s, mid 1990s. From the mid 1990s to 2025, what's not changed? Ah, that aroma right now, coming out of the kitchen right now. They're in there baking cookies right now. That aroma. What's happening to me right now in this moment in my office? The aroma's wafting under the door, and I'm hungry. Okay, I'm hungry, right? I want something flavored like pumpkin spice right now. Anybody hungry for banana bread yet? I did this session for a big mortgage company, and they put literally together. I gotta show you this. They sent me a gift in the mail after telling this story. Banana nut bread candle. I still haven't burned it, but man, if I ever want just banana bread right there, man, banana nut bread. So don't send me candles. You can, but I don't burn candles as much. But somebody's gonna send banana bread. I just know it. But anyway, so like, what hasn't changed? Hunger, the need to eat, the need to experience a story, the need to support. Did you know some people bought the bread just to support my sisters? The need to support charity, or the need to support a young person's vision. Like, if you look at all the needs there that sold that banana bread then, it would still sell the banana bread now. But what's changed is the technology, the way I would drive a car now. I would not drive my BMX bike, although that's a great way to stay fit. Maybe I should ride my BMX bike. I was going out in the cold winter months through the rain with my BMX bike. So what's changed? The technologies, the transportation. But what hasn't changed, right? That's what we have to ask ourselves as we get into energizing our sales. Because, let me advance the slide. Because if we look at it, by the way, we energize our sales through perspective, ownership, accountability. Okay, great. So if I'm going to have the right mindset, something like it's the same common thread, like human desire, human needs still need to be met. Did you know people still want to help you? Core human need, they want to help you. Most sales professionals don't reach out and say, hey, I need your help. Hey, could you help me with something? Hey, can you help me understand like what's stopping you from moving forward with us? Like, help, just help me. Would you help me? I need help, right? Core human need is to help each other. So just think about just tapping into core human need. Okay, that's mindset. Sometimes we get in our own way, like, oh, they probably hate me, or they didn't answer my email. There's rejection there. That's our mindset, guys. Shit, perspective. But once we get past the perspective piece, okay, perspective, then we take ownership. Now, how do we take ownership? How do we take ownership? I like to bring 3 things into ownership that will ensure ownership happens. Okay, and I call it the CPA of our sales. CPA of our sales, and you'll like this because the CPA is like that's the auditor, right? That's like, just think about the CPA looks at the numbers. And when we're thinking about our sales CPA, we need to be more numbers mindset, and like what actually makes that happen, makes numbers happen. But the CPA of our sales focus, okay, is this: consistency. Number 1, consistency. You want to take ownership. You got to figure out, what can I do on a consistent basis? Why ownership often doesn't stick is we try to do it all now. We try to do it, or we wait, we procrastinate, and we have to do it all then. Instead of saying, what can I do consistently to build muscle memory? What can I do consistently to build muscle memory? And this also comes down to a core of who we are. What do you love doing? What do you love about what you do right now as a sales professional? What do you love? Have you lost maybe the factor of why you got into this, why you show up? Because if you'll remember what you love, and then you'll build habits, daily habits around doing what you love, consistency will happen more naturally. Did you know some people, I'm just so inconsistent? But I would ask you to back up. Again, perspective, get back to, what are you actually consistent at? I promise you're consistent at sleeping, because we all have to sleep. I promise you, whether you drink enough water or not, you're probably pretty consistent at drinking. In this industry, sometimes I wonder what we're consistent at drinking more of. But definitely needs to be the old water. But you're pretty consistent about hydrating. Okay, you're probably pretty consistent at showing up. You're on this call. You showed up on this call. You're pretty consistent at learning, educating, growing, wanting to grow. But then all of a sudden we got this coach in our head that says, oh, you got to get on social media, 4 times a day and play the time and get on here, there, and everything. And we get on for 60-second reel and we're like, freaking out, because we were never created to create a 60-second perfect reel. You're not consistent because it's not you. You've not defined what your love is. You've not really found the value in it, because if you knew it was valuable, you'd do it. But oftentimes we're trying to do something that we think is going to get a result. We've not really thought, will that increase my capacity for results? I have a case study where I show a 4.3 million view video on TikTok. My video, 4.3 million views, and one on LinkedIn, 38 views. And you know which one I've made the most money off of? LinkedIn, 38 views. And I do those consistently. Why? Because they have the capacity to achieve a result. The TikTok didn't for me. Now, are there some people who are great at TikTok and make a lot of bank and money? Yeah, for sure. And was it worth all the viral views? And yes, but honestly, there's no real connection that came out of that. LinkedIn is where connection comes for me. So for me, it was easy when I'm like, I'm not in it. People say, you're on Instagram? Can I tag you on Instagram? I'm not on Instagram. If you're in real estate or mortgage, you need to be on Instagram. I don't need to be on Instagram. All my customers are on LinkedIn. I'm just consistent over on LinkedIn. And I'm okay saying that. People are like, oh, you're in the real estate coaching space, you're not on Instagram? I'm like, yeah, because I tell people where I'm at, and they know where I'm at. They know where my house is. Some people, it's like one person told me once, they said, if I had a party, would you come? I'm like, I love you. Yes, I'd come. And they said, if I gave you like, hey, come to my party, then I give you 4 addresses, would you come? I'd be like, that would be confusing. I want to know. He's like, that's what most professionals are trying to do on online. They're building all these profiles thinking they have to keep up with all these things, and they're literally giving people 4 addresses. Like, where's your party? I don't. Well, it's the same thing. They posted the same thing, Instagram, Facebook. It's like we're chasing all this stuff that we were never meant to chase. It does not increase our capacity for results. So consistency has to actually be a mirror for us. It's not just go do it consistently. Some people are, all right, if I could just do it consistently. Well, stop. Are you doing the right thing first? And I promise you, if it's the right thing and it delivers value, now trust me, there's going to be things that are hard to do. If you're going to go to the gym consistently, there's probably some muscle memory change with that. That'll take some time to build, but the value has to be clear. The why has to be there. And then the consistency will follow much easier. And then we could talk about, habit stacking. James Clear talks about taking a habit you're trying to build and packaging it on top of a habit that's already there. So like when you wake up in the morning, if you're not hydrating enough, put your cup of water, 1 glass of water right next to your alarm clock. Wake up in the morning, pick up your cup and drink because you're waking up. Oh, I got to drink my water. Start the day off forming a new habit, right? That's habit stacking. So if you get to the office at a certain time and you want to be more intentional with your sales, put your power hour, we'll talk about in just a second, put your power hour right there where you start and block. Like, it's like, nope, I get to the office and do my power hour. Habit, you already get to the office. You do that consistently. Habit stack, put your power hour right there. Nothing else gets you to that power hour is done, right? So habit stacking can help us get the consistency built, but it's unchanging in nature and its effect over time. So to build consistency, we have to first define what should we do consistently. What should we do consistently? I won't unpack all of these when I'm taking teams through in person. We unpack these. Everyone circles 1 or 2 that they need to focus on. And I like to say, focus on 1 or 2 on the list that are going to deliver the biggest bang for your buck, and just focus on that for a month, then 2 months, then 90 get 90 days under your belt for something. That'll really help you with habit building. So define your high value activities. And by the way, guys, forgive my throat. I've spoken the month of November, all in will be 20 events. And then October was more than that. And then in the last 2 weeks, it's been like 12. And then I just got some chest crud like Friday. It was like literally miraculous. Wound up being on the road, and then boom, got the chest crud, which I'm almost over, but I'm still battling through. In fact, my mom and my wife, my mom's here as well, and my wife and her put this little tonic together for me right before getting on here. So I'm gonna take a quick swig. But grab one of these things on the list. What's the thing for you that if done consistently, if that you could bring value in this thing, you could deliver value, the why is there. Like, I know when I used to do that, it worked. When I used to do that, I delivered value through it. Okay. And then circle that. And then how do you put that into your life consistently? How can you habit stack that and do it consistently? All right. Darren Hardy, the compound effect. He says you only need to take a series of tiny steps consistently over time to radically improve your life. Radically improve your life. All right, talk about social media just for a second. So I always get asked, so what is the social media? What's the code to cracking social media? I threw a few statistics. I do a whole training on social media through a sales lens, because I think social media, sometimes we see as sales, like, oh, if I'm on social media, if I'm top of mind, instead of seeing social media as a component of a broader marketing and sales strategy. So where does marketing work? Thought leadership. Talk in terms of your customers' pain points. Marketing is not so much just, oh, look at me, Tim Hooper, I'm a sales coach. I'm coach these companies and do this, and I do it in these states and all that. Oftentimes that's what we're doing. We're saying our company does this, our company does that, as opposed to, sales leaders typically tell me that follow-up's an issue for their team, time management, time blocking, and just staying, proactive and consistent over time. Like, if I did that right away, somebody's listening, and it's like, oh, and by the way, we do that. Like, our company does that. So it's like marketing is best told from a consumer lens standpoint of what do we help do? What do we help achieve for our customers? Have your marketing team talk more like that in the new year. And then from a sales perspective, how are you time blocking, number one, your social media? Because social media can be a big, black, dark hole distraction, okay? So how do you time block your social media? And then from a salesperson's perspective, if you're on here and you're a salesperson, how do you get on and effectively get on and get off? Get on. Let me ask you a couple of questions. How many direct messages do you send each day? How many voice memos do you send through DMs on social media each day? Voice memos, like literally hold the microphone and talk to another human. It's right in front of us. That technology is right in front of us, and it's one of the best. The feedback I get from a voice memo is incredible. I'm like, the capacity for results with that is tremendous. And yet, we're posting static posts and we're just or liking or commenting on other people's posts. And many of us don't go into the what we call the dark social. It's where the algorithm can't even track you because you're private messaging, and from a private message, setting up a Zoom call or setting up an in-person coffee. And you're leveraging social media to stay social, share thought leadership from the marketing perspective, but then reach out in a sales effort to say, let's get together. Let's get together. Let's connect. Let's talk about. Did you see the video we just posted last week? Does that resonate with you? Let's meet to talk about it, right? Marketing and sales. Overall, social media is just a strategy in the overarching theme. So there's some tips and tricks on the screen there. Again, this is a whole training for social media I'm not getting into today. But when it comes to consistency, I do hear some people say, I tried social media. Well, did you launch a strategy that actually works for you? Because I believe every professional, there's a strategy with social media that will work for you. If you're courageous enough to say, I can do that and I can do that consistently. And social media may stretch you for a little while, but if I moved to Mexico and tried to sell houses and never even attempted to say gracias or learn Spanish, like my son is learning right now, rattled off all of our birthdays the other day in Spanish, and I just beautiful. If I moved there and never attempted to learn the language, would I be taken seriously? Well, I believe in today's day and age, the consumer, actually, we've all been programmed, all of us, baby boomers, millennials, Gen Z, Xers, Alpha, everybody. We've all been programmed this way now. It's not your fault. It's all of our problem. We want to experience a brand before we engage with the brand. We want to experience you as a professional before we engage with you. We've been taught we can do this, right? Am I not right? I mean, somebody recommends a restaurant, you go look it up. You look for a menu, you look for a picture, you look for a video, and then you're like, okay, yeah, my significant other who's picky, I'm not picky, I could eat anywhere, but they're picky, and I just verified there's stuff on the menu they like, and it looks good, and we can book it now. So you want to engage, you want to experience the brand, and then engage with the brand. Because of that, you need a social media strategy. Why? Because when you reach out to somebody, hey, let's get together, they're going to land on your profile and they're going to experience you or not. So can you do that consistently? Here's the question. What can you do consistently? So social media strategies for consistency. But again, right? That moment when you're trying to be productive, but you keep getting distracted by your phone. This is why I say, as a sales professional, time block your social media. It's just one component. It's not the ultimate component. Some of us are chasing vanity with social media as opposed to increasing our capacity for results. There's a Latin term that says festina lente. It was adopted by the Roman army, the great Roman Empire. Festina lente. It's actually Stoic wisdom. It says make haste slowly. Make haste slowly. Have the urgency to win, but don't have the impatience that often comes along with your urgency, or naturally with some people who, like me, are impatient naturally, right? Have the urgency, but be willing, be courageous enough to say there's gonna be hard work here involved, and I'm going to look at the end of every day and reflect and say, I made forward progress, and I'm grateful for it. Festina lente. All right, so to end this point, what is one sales-focused action that I will commit to time block daily that I believe will increase my number of sales conversations this last month of the year, which next Monday starts December 1st. Last month of the year, I could get a running start into January. Some of us right now are like, oh, January's coming. We already kind of have like vacation plan, which is wonderful. Like holidays, time with family, being able to put the out of office on and completely check out. Please do that. But why would you take your foot off the gas of connection? Deep human connection. Why would you take your foot off the gas of quality communication over the holidays? And reach out. How are you? Reach out. Hey, I hope you're going to have a wonderful holiday. And what does the second week of January look like to get together? Right? It's been a while. I miss you. I miss working with you. Right? Human. Let them breathe. But what we're going to do is we're going to wait. We're going to get to January, and we're like, oh, can we meet next week? And it's already being loaded, right? And we end up doing this in sales. We're chasing next week as opposed to chasing next quarter and living fully present here because we've planned it out. So what's one sales focused action I commit to time block daily? What would that be? What would give you more breathing room if I did this every day and didn't wait till the last of the month, right? Or whenever that it looks like for you. All right. There's one question around consistency. All right. Let's talk about proactivity. So when it comes to taking ownership, some of us are waiting for orders and some of us are creating marching orders for ourselves. There's a Stephen Covey says in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. By the way, he wrote the book, The 8th Habit as well. It's incredible, an incredible read. But 7 Habits of Highly Effective People says number 1 habit is proactivity. Proactivity is not waiting for life to happen to me. Trust me, life is going to happen to all of us. There will be things outside of our control 1000%. Okay. Proactivity is saying, what is my role in life? Where am I at? What's my life phase? What are my roles? What are some roles I want to grow into? How do I maximize the role that I'm in? How do I deliver the maximum amount of value to the people that I work with? And how can I do that in new ways? How can I create something that's going to cause something to happen? I like this definition: anticipating, creating, or influencing a situation by causing something to happen rather than responding to it after it's happened. Proactive people see their pipeline as chances to cause something to happen. There's an opportunity you presented something 2 months ago to somebody, and you're kind of waiting on them to get back to you. Well, how about checking in? I like what one of my friends, Janelle, used to say. She says, I teeter, or she said, I thread the needle between being pesky and persistent. The truth of the matter was, every customer she landed thanked her for her persistence. It was funny. I always challenged. I was like, nobody's ever said like, you were pesky, so you got the deal, right? And it's always like, thank you for being persistent. Thank you for staying on me. Thank you. Why? She's creating so much value, inviting them into the value and inviting them into like doing life with her, like doing business with her, so they can have the value and more of it. So it was never pesky. But sometimes in our own minds, we think proactive is pesky. You know what? Here's the deal. In sales, people don't just naturally think, oh, I want to invite you to my party. Your customer, your prospective customer is not just saying, oh, you know what? Let me think of every real estate agent out there to invite you in to look at this, to analyze this life decision I'm about to make. No. But the one who just delivered value, the one who just reached out, and they're thinking through, and all of a sudden, bam, there it is. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember this person. Or, they've always been so likable. Or, you know what? They're always delivering on like my pain points, and they're always thoughtful, and they're always, you know what? I'm going to call this person. Yes, they're my person, right? Why? They're proactive. They are happening to and influencing to be in anticipating situations and causing things to happen. So talk about the word anticipating, right? In business, we can anticipate there's going to be drama. There's going to be things that happen. And here's the thing: in business, there's going to be drama that you need to be involved in and get ahead of and be proactive with. And there's absolutely drama everywhere you need to do nothing with. You need to check out of. Okay? scrolling on TikTok and trying to solve all the world's problems and you're not even an elected official, we have a voting box. So we can go vote. We can do our thing. But commenting, sharing, posting, getting like what good? Like what good? Focus. Focus on what you can control. So proactivity, I like what Stephen Covey also says, is the ability to subordinate an impulse to a value. The ability to subordinate an impulse to a value. An impulse is I see something, I gotta do it now. I gotta jump on that. I just had something land on my inbox this morning, and it was a negative thing. It was actually something I did. I messed something up, and I hate when I mess stuff up. Does anybody else on here? Am I the only one? You just hate when you mess something up. It's like, dang it. So I messed something up, and I got the email, hey, this is incorrect. You need to fix it. And I was on a meeting with somebody, and I saw it pop in, and boom, my brain just was like, it grated on my nerves. I want to go fix it. And I was so tempted to like do the whole like little like look at the screen like and scroll my fingers to go fix it. And I was like, no, stop it, Tim. Do you ever have these conversations? No, stop it, Tim. Focus, be fully present in this. Be fully present right now. You can fix that later. The ability to subordinate an impulse to a value. What's the value there? Being fully present where I'm at. You say, Tim, I can't get all the work done. Neither can I. Being fully present where I'm at, I can't get all the work done, which means I have to grow as a human, as a leader. I have to either delegate, I have to figure out a more efficient way of doing it, or I have to say no to some things. Okay? I have to grow as a leader if I'm going to be living in congruence with my value of being fully present where I'm at. And I'm happy to say I can't do it all. And that only forces me to grow as a person. Whereas the person who says, I'm not going to be fully present where I'm at, I'm going to multitask because I have too much work, I got to get it all done. And you actually just take on more and you don't grow. Makes sense? That is not increasing the capacity to achieve results. And then people wonder, why did that big account move? Why did they go away? We did good service for them. We worked so hard for them. Well, you became busy. That's where we mistake energy. I'm running around doing all this stuff, but we didn't stop long enough to challenge. One of my values is when I show up with my partners, I do not want to just listen and be a bystander, just listen, take orders, just no, challenge them. So do you really want to do that? Tim, we want to do an event first quarter. Okay, let's meet and talk about it. Do you really want to do an event first quarter? Tell me about your last event. What were the results you got? Did those people land in your database? Oh, they didn't. Hang on, time out. Where's your database? We got to fix that first. I challenged one of my big clients just recently. I said, I'm not going to speak for you next year much. I'm going to do it 2 times only, not 8. But I'm going to coach your sales team on maximizing your events because your attendance has been trickling way down. And I'm just being like, why wouldn't I be honest? Because they're not getting the results they want. And I'm actually contributing just by being busy, just showing up to speak, to check a box. Eventually, they're going to move to another speaker. They're going to move to another company because I've let the value deteriorate because of impulses, right? So think about it. Subordinate an impulse to a value. That's the code of a proactive person. Now, let's talk about impulse. Who has the impulse for black coffee every morning? Dark roast black coffee every morning. Okay. I'll tell you, I had the hardest time when I moved. I was at a company for 10 years in the automotive space. I had the hardest time moving from production into sales. So I was on the production team. I was the purchasing manager. Okay. Ran a $10 million budget, purchasing cylinders, pneumatics, photo sensors, all this stuff for robotic assembly lines. And I hired some folks, we grew the team, and I said, I'm moving to sales. And I always want to go into sales. When I first came to the company, I said, hey, can I go into sales? Hey, why don't you start in purchasing? You could learn everything not to do and everything to do by having all these salespeople into your office. And sure enough, we had 200 vendors. And I didn't like the word vendor. I called them strategic suppliers. And if they couldn't make the cut in my head for a strategic supplier, I was looking for somebody else. So 5 years and then trying to move from production to sales, I would be in the office and I'd have somebody come up from production to my sales office. like, hey, so back when you were a purchasing manager, how did you? And I was like, you could have like you could figure this out. I trained you. You got a playbook. You got SOP, strategic operating procedure. Like you got like. Anyway, we didn't have AI back then. We would have figured something else out with AI. But anyway, so I decided that I was going to go to Starbucks and I was going to do my power hour, the most critical things in my sales workflow to touch new clients, to open up new doors, to ask an engineer down at the Honda plant, hey, can we come visit you when we're by there? I want to find out your vision for like the line you're building 3 years from now. Like sending out that outbound stuff, following up with the quotes that were coming in, thanking people for the orders that came. Like those things that were so critical. I'd get to the office, distraction would happen, and then before long, the days it's shot. It became a reactive day. So I went to Starbucks and I grabbed my coffee and I'd sit there and I just churn, just kill the email. Then social media back then was, I mean, I was starting to get into like Facebook, but it was just LinkedIn was a big deal for me. So I went into LinkedIn. I could connect with engineers there, oftentimes find their emails, which were not, they buried those emails. They did not put those emails out on websites, right? So I was trying to always figure out, I was the best at trying to figure out the suffixes on emails, prefixes. Is it a first initial, last name, period, last name? Sometimes I'd try 5, 6 different email types before I got it. But we'd figured out, but it was that hour of the morning with my hot coffee in hand that I started finding a rhythm of success, being proactive to my day. And then if my entire rest of my day ran away once I got to the office or once I got on the road and a customer call came in or something blew up in the inbox, whatever it was, I knew my proactive sales generating activities were done. This was habit stacking because I had to have my coffee. So I just stacked. I sat there for an hour. Nobody else got me. In fact, my boss would call, would not answer. And I told him, you call, I'm not answering. You want this? And by the way, when I resigned 10 years after, trust me, I had issues. I was not always the most compliant person in the world. But, and I don't mean compliant like in a bad way, just certain things that yeah, you didn't get this turned in on time. I'm like, dude, I got in at like 11 p.m. at night. I'm back out at 4 a.m. in the morning. Like, give me a break, right? And some of you salespeople on this call, you're like, yeah, me too. Trust me, I've matured. I'm telling you, I was a little bit more of a rebel back then. But my thing was, I had a goal, and I was going to hit that goal. And when I got to the office, things got in the way of that goal. And I knew that if I was in sales and I didn't come through my quota, the company would suffer, right? And our company was automotive. There were whiplashes. There were cycles that would happen. We'd have a plenteous month and then a famine. It was always like feast or famine. I was like, why? Why can't we level load the pipeline? Why can't we figure this out? And we did. But you had to get radical about what are my proactivities? All right. How do I proact to my day and not let my day react to me? All right. So anyhow, we do it. And then what happened though is I got comfortable. Guys. And I sat there at Starbucks drinking my hot coffee and got comfortable. And I started sliding into this little bit of a reactive, even with my project, started sliding in. So I had a coach. I was running marathon at the time. And he was all about not SMART goals. Have you guys heard the SMART acronym, by the way? Who's heard the SMART acronym? Drop in the comments. I'll put it in the comments in the chat later. But SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, right? And then time bound, SMART. He was all about smarter goals because after SMART, you have E, evaluate, and R, reward. So he was all about reward. And I wasn't big about rewards. I didn't care about awards or top done. I just wanted my number and I wanted to provide for my family. And we were having kids. I was going back to school as a non-trad. So long story short, I started sliding. And he was talking, my running coach was talking about reward, evaluate and reward. I'm like, I need to evaluate. Am I still getting my results out of this power hour? And I was noticing I wasn't like sitting there just cranking, just decisive. Boom, boom, boom. So a little bit, fixing this in the CRM, moving my dashboards around. I was like, was there a time and a place to move my dashboards in the CRM? Yes, but it was not my power hour. And so here's what I did. I changed it up. I went to Starbucks and I sat down first and I cranked through my power hour. Then I got my coffee on the way out back to the office or to get on the road. Okay. Now, still same thing. I always believe in paying for my Wi-Fi. I just big about I won't just crash it. Oh, I'm a stock owner. I own stock here. I could just sit here and use the Wi-Fi. No, I always got a coffee and paid for the Wi-Fi. But I would use the Wi-Fi first, and then you know what's worse? Sitting there and smelling dark roast coffee and not having any. So again, subordinating an impulse to a value. The value was I had to have my power hour done. By the way, this PhD, power hour daily, that is the PhD of sales. Put your proactive stuff you have to do that are going to generate business, put it into an hour time block, okay? And go hit that, touch on that, do your deep work. And then you might have great deep works later. You might have a big training presentation or a face-to-face visit later in the day. That's all sales stuff too. But I'm talking about open up those doors, do a power hour daily. Any industry this can count for, but figure out the things that you need to do as a sales professional to drive business forward. Okay. Now, remember, we talked about anticipating the drama, anticipating some of it. In all of our workflows, we have questions we get asked all the time. We have new customers coming on board, and we know they're going to be coming on board, and there's going to be a certain set of this is what they need to do, or this is what they need to know about. What I would suggest and recommend, and many of you guys have heard the story, but this is my sweet mom. She's actually here this week. I think I mentioned earlier, but I'll never forget when we went to buy her house up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Never forget that mortgage professional who won the business. And I reached out to 3. The one who won the business was the one who reached out in a very human-centric way, but with a well-oiled process. She reached out with a nice intro video explaining her application process, explaining to me here's how to contact me if anything goes wrong. It shouldn't, but if anything goes wrong, my cell phone number's here. And by the way, this link, it'll take you right over here. Should take you no more than 10 minutes. And I've sent it to Dorothy too, and I've sent it to you. She gave me context. Why am I reaching out? She gave me a contingency. What happens if it goes wrong? She gave me clarity. Here's exactly how long it's going to take. And boom, I just went and clicked the link and did it. And when I asked her at closing, like, that video is so cool that you sent me, she said, I just evaluated my pipeline where I lost the most deals, and it was in the application process. So I decided to get ahead of it. I decided to proact to my application process. I decided to anticipate what could go wrong and communicate with clarity. Do you know some people introduce me? Tim Hooper, the sales guru, whatever. Number one, I hate the word guru. I shouldn't say hate. I'm trying to nix that out of my vocabulary. I strongly dislike the word guru. Okay. And it makes it kind of feel like you've arrived. Guys, I am learning every single day, and I stub my toe daily. Okay. If you do enough action, you're going to stub your toe. The thing is this, I like to say I'm a student of sales, but here's what sales is in my mind. Connection, because if you don't connect, you're not selling anything. And then communication, the conversation. Those who have the most sales conversations win the most business. But to even start that conversation, you got to connect. So how can I connect better, and how can I communicate clearer? Both of those 2 ingredients right there. If you can get good at that, you'll get good at sales. Okay. Negotiation, communicating better, clearer, earlier, setting expectations, getting ahead of objections. Like, it's communication. Opening up new doors, getting the lead first, and being on the connection, getting them to call you back, connection and communication. And it's like, so it's always that, like those 2 things. And if you could do that in your process, if you could think about in your process where you could do that more proactively, you'll change the game for yourself, for your clients. So at what stage in your sales process do you lose the most leads? And what's something that you could try doing differently in generating, capturing, and nurturing that lead? What's something you could try? Just like Shannon's video, what's something you could try that's a little different? All right. So proactivity. All right. Last piece, accountability. And then we're going to wrap this up and answer some questions. So accountability, the quality or state of being accountable, an obligation or willingness. And I like the word willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's actions and able to give a satisfactory reason for them. Now, we talked about perspective, right? Perspective being the mindset that we approach life with, that we approach our energy with. Is it even worth my time? Is this thing going to increase the capacity? Wayne Dyer said, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. That's mindset. That's perspective. Ownership, consistent, proactive. We talked about C and P. Now we come down to accountability, right? Accountability. I believe that we have a great mindset. Oh, if I believe it, I can achieve it, right? We have great mindset. We take ownership, execute flawlessly, and we can run a lot of people over. I've seen people do it. They build great empires and they all come tumbling down because they missed this ingredient right here. The willingness to accept responsibility to account for my actions. That I am in a relationship with other people. That I actually have the ability to inspire another life, to ignite the energy in another person. That with my actions, and by the way, I'm not always talking about our exploits and our superhero actions and how we like grand slam a sale. I'm not talking about that at all. Sometimes through our flaws, oftentimes through our flaws, through our failures, through our mistakes, through our stub toe moments, can we actually inspire the most? Somebody said we impress with our strengths, we connect through our weaknesses. So do I have a willingness to accept responsibility? Like the metrics aren't there. My capacity to achieve results aren't there in my life. Okay, let me look at how I'm incapacitated. Let me open up about that to somebody who can help, right? What if we looked at it that way and looked at it as a more of a divine responsibility and had willingness around that? You could have an obligation with it. I like the word willingness, just to say I'm going to be vulnerable with somebody. All right. So what does accountability look like for us? Okay. Well, let's be honest. In sales, and I quote these statistics all the time, but in sales, only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So if that's the case, am I willing to open up about where I fall down? Am I willing to accept coaching? Am I willing to say, let's be consistent with this. Let's meet consistently and look at my numbers and help me get out of my own head, or ask me some tough questions to help me move forward, even if it's a small step forward. Are we willing to ask for help around some of the results we're not getting? It's that simple. Are we willing to ask for help around the results, and ask for help from somebody who can actually help us? Somebody who's doing it, who's modeling it, who's done it, right? Are we willing to put together a board of directors for our life? Many of you guys know my backstory. Did not have a great father figure. I still have a father figure in my life. We've, in some ways, restored the relationship. Still not quite there, but it was not a good role model for me when it came to a loving father. Okay, let's just put it that way. And a lot of forgiveness has gone into that, and it's incredible where we're at today in light of all of it. But what I will say is this: when I first started having kids, I freaked out. I mean, I know I wanted kids, I want to be a dad, but I freaked out. I'm like, how do I be a dad? How do I be a loving father who's not a, like, demanding workaholic, just what I grew up with, right? And so I'm like, man. So I found a guy, Joe, who had 4 daughters, and they all, like, 2 were already grown and loved him, and then 2 were still at home, and like I could tell loved them. Now they're all grown and gone, and all love them. And but I asked Joe, I was like, could I take you to coffee once a quarter with a yellow pad and a pen and just ask you questions? So long story short, he gave me tips. He gave me little tricks, little things. I was able to ask questions. He was my sounding board, but he became one of my board members of my life in the father category. And there was a finance category. I didn't know how to run finances. I was a blue collar, like growing up was blue collar mentality. It was, you work hard, you pay your bills, you do honest, right? And that was all good. But as far as like investing into future like wealth to pass on to generations, that wasn't there. So work ethic was there, but it was like working smarter, thinking about investing in valuable things, creating value. So I went and got a mentor around finances. Just having mentors in different roles of your life. Well, how about a sales mentor? How about in 2026, a connection, a communication, something that's going to help you in that category? Okay. How about that to help you get more wins on the board faster at an accelerated rate? All right. Energizing your sales. Be honest with your capacity. Why do most of us not lean into accountability? Because of Tim Hooper's ego, just why I don't lean into accountability. Um, Someone gives me exactly one compliment, and then of course we could put male or female ego on here, guys. I'm not just calling you out on here, and ladies on the call, you like take a breath here. And I'm just kidding. Like we all have an ego, but seriously, literally anything pop, it's like, it's that thin. This is why oftentimes we don't ask for help or we don't open up about our challenges. It's because of our ego. And oftentimes I find like with employee to boss relationships, there's a fear. Well, I don't want my boss to think I'm not performing. Did you know how refreshing it would be for an employee to go to their boss and actually say, hey, I don't feel like I'm hitting it where I want to hit it at this level. Can you look into my picture, give me some coaching, give me some guidance, give me some training around this? You know how refreshing that would be. If I'll tell you in a leadership role, somebody does that to me, comes to me with that line, there's no way I'm going to move heaven and earth to keep somebody like that. But it's so funny what limits us. And then we build these like narratives in our head. Oh, my boss probably doesn't like me because we feel like we're not hitting the mark. Like it's all in here and we don't hit the mark. Then we don't hit the mark. And then I see it, they eventually move on. They either leave because they don't feel satisfied. There's this underlying undertow, like I'm not accepting, I'm not hitting the mark. When no one was really putting that pressure there except yourself. Just open up about what you're feeling. Open up about I need help. I want training. I want to lean. I want to do better at this. How do I get there? Open up. And as a professional, you might be on your own, solopreneur, real estate agent. Get in a mastermind where somebody says you're the dumbest person in the room. And I know the word dumb isn't there. It's fine. Get in a room where you're not the smartest person or you don't have all the answers. Get in the room. For me as a trainer, I constantly have to challenge myself. And that's why I'm so excited about Mike Gandolfo and the trust factor. Being in a room with somebody who's truly more just out ahead of me, more brilliant in so many ways, and leading his life like I want to lead mine. So be in the room with smarter people and learn from them. Be willing to open up. Many of you know, you follow along on the journey. We just completed marathon number 8 in Maryland a couple weeks back, actually November 1st, so almost a month ago. But my buddy Bill, actually, happy birthday, Bill, next month. He's turning 63. Now, I want you guys to look at the screen, and then we're going to be done. But look at this. Look, this is sick. This is mile 26. Mile 26. Bill's face, my face. Okay? Now, this is marathon number 8 for me. This is marathon number 2 for Bill. Mile 26. What you don't know, okay, what you do know is we shot a video at every mile. So he shot one, and then I shot one. He shot one, I shot one. He was odd miles, I was even miles. Mile 25, I started to tank, and Bill's like, come on, Tim. And he's charging forward. Then I see my wife and my 4 kids walking down to the finish line from our hotel because they were going to meet me at the finish line. And we're running this way, and I pass them, and I get this little like lift inside. I'm like, oh man, my kids can't see me finish behind Bill. So I charged forward, and that wasn't enough. So then I had to dig deep. And I'm sitting there negotiating with my thighs who are burning, and I'm negotiating with my mind. I'm like, I got this. I've done this before. We can do this again. And I'm sitting there, and then a little bit of wind off the ocean just puffed. And I was like, oh, man. And it's just a little bit of wind. Oh, and I'm sitting there fighting it. Well, then all of a sudden, there's mile 26 coming. And I'm sitting there. I'm about 100 yards behind Bill. And I see Bill go for he's going to do the video whether I'm there or not. We made a commitment. Every mile, we're doing a video together. So he reaches into his little satchel, his fanny pack, and I see him reaching for it, and I'm like, no way. So I charge, and I sprint to catch up with Bill, and I reach over, grab his phone, because it was my mile. It was an even mile, and I hit the record button and hit go. Now, we finished together, and my face looked about this painful the rest of the 0.2 miles. Now, why do I tell that silly story? It all came down to one thing. Bill trained better. That's it. Bill trained better. I showed up. I ran. I finished. I finished with Bill. Bill trained better. And because Bill trained better, I was able to finish with Bill because we built accountability into that marathon. Every mile, we were going to do a video together. So this goes both ways. I call this a 360 degree of accountability. And here's where it is. Here's where it's at. Train well. because in your training well, you will bring people along with you. And then those of you who want to get to the finish line, maybe it's your first marathon, build accountability in well. Build accountability in at the mile markers. Check in. Do it together. If you want to go fast, go alone and you'll burn out. But if you want to go far, go together and you'll actually enjoy the journey much more. And so as we end, I like Margaret Wheatley says, relationships are all there is. Everything in the universe only exists because it is in relationship to everything else. Nothing exists in isolation. We have to stop pretending we are individuals that can go it alone. So with that in mind, one more quote here, Keith Ferrazzi, Never Eat Alone. I love the book, Never Eat Alone. By the way, 2026, eat more meals with other people. Success in life equals the people you meet plus what you can create together. So guys, I want to thank you for joining today. I want to end with this last question, getting in to December of the new year and all that's to come. But what's one skill or knowledge area I can develop that would make the most impact on my sales opportunities? And then when it comes to generating new business, what's one thing I do well? What's one thing you do well that you could share with your team, that you could teach, that you could coach, that you could train on? Mortgage bankers on the call. What's a mastermind you could bring some real estate agents in and just have, don't pitch yourself, don't sell your company, bring them in and add value to their lives. Real estate agents, your referral partners, your community centers of influence. What can you do to give back to the community, to promote them, to get their name out in front of your database? Do you have your database? What's a skill you can develop? What's a knowledge area that you want to get better at? Communication, connection. What is it? High tech, high touch, high trust. What is it? Lean into those people around you who are there, who are doing what you want to do. We're going to end this. I want to thank F&F for their partnership in powering the Energy for Sales lives and also powering now the Trust Factor X with Mike Gandolfo. I want to thank you guys again for joining. Many people have asked me all year long, can I get a copy of your book? Can I get a copy of your book? And I have books right now on back order because I hand them out all the time. In fact, I had a lady come up at a conference recently. She said, were you going to send me your book? And I remembered she had sent me or her address. I promised her to send me, or I sent her my book. But that QR code on the screen was my book, God Energy, on Amazon. You could just find it. God Energy, Tim Hooper on Amazon. You can find the book. But anyway, I talk about perspective, ownership, accountability in that book, and just break it down for an energized life. And it's not about pretending like it's perfect, because life is not. It's all about living in integrity, being congruent with who you are, showing up to add value to the world, and to do it just increasing capacity. Energy is like your health. You take care of your health. It's a condition. Energy is a condition. It's a capacity. Are you increasing and expanding capacity to actually achieve results that you want in your life? So without further ado, I'm going to check the chat real quick. Thank you guys for being on today. Again, I love answering questions. Meg, happy Thanksgiving to you too. June, thanks for being here. Terry, thank you for being on. Thank you guys for your partnership. And I'm happy to end early. I don't see questions in the chat, but reach out, guys. I know many of you guys are on Calendly links and we're on one-on-one coaching and whatnot, but thank you for being here. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. December the 14th, I'll be sending out a bomb to those on my mailing list, but December 14th, I'm sorry, not 14th, nix that. December 13th, 9 a.m. Eastern, join Mike Gandolfo and I on the Trust Factor X on YouTube Live, and drop your questions in the chat live. We're going to be answering them. And your question will pop up on the screen, by the way. It's going to be so cool. So thank you guys for being here. Looking forward to taking this live to the next level through the Trust Factor, and then just bringing you content from other sales leaders through the Energy for Sales channels. Thank you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care, everybody.